Hello, everybody. This is Howard the Teaserking coming to you with Week 14 of the NFL for 2018. Real strong week last week. Last week was kind of a bit strange because of there was a few really good games, and I put them in multiple teasers, and then so I probably played 5 teams, but I had them in like 7 or 8 teasers, and everything won but Kansas City. I was 8-0 in college. My lock there was Fresno State under, which is the third time I've locked Fresno State under, and the third time they won easily as the under. They're a very strong defensive team. They don't really score that much. They're the perfect under team because it'll be like last week it was 13-13 at the end of the game. Other times it's been like 24-3, 24-10. They have a tremendous defense, and it's really hard to score on them. But they don't put up 50 unless it's a real weak team. They don't put up a 50. They just put up, against the San Jose State they might put up a 40 and beat them 40-0. But against the better teams, it's going to be ball control and defense. They're like the New York Giants with LT. Great defense. They ball control you. The quarterback's good, but they don't light you up unless you're a real bad defense. So that's the third time at least that I've locked them under, and I played them as a dog every time. I think I've locked them 5 times this year, and I've won all 5 with them. So they're a beautiful team. I hit everything in college last week. Ohio State had to win. I had UCF because I knew they'd play for the quarterback. Just several other. Everything won. It was beautiful. And then in the pros, I really only missed Kansas City. And there I was kind of trapped because I posted the game on Wednesday because Oakland owns them. I know the spread was high, and I normally try to avoid laying more than 7 in the pros. So that's what happened there. But then Kareem Hunt's announced Friday. What can I do? I've already posted the game. So I don't know if you guys would rather me just put a disclaimer in, well, wait, Hunt's gone. If you haven't bet it yet, or my new guys that come on Sunday, don't bet it. Or what, but it's hard there because but if you're in Vegas, I could have easily bet Oakland in 14 to kind of offset the bet and done that. But the other lock, Seattle and the Rams won easily. Seattle just pounded Frisco, and the Rams over Detroit was a little tight, but again, you're only laying 3 or 4. I don't mind laying the Rams 10 down to 4 against the weak Lion team. That's okay, but the 14 down to 8, and I don't know what happened to Kansas City. Their defense was terrible. They looked like they didn't even want to be there. They would score, but then their defense is letting Oakland, who has no offense. The thesis was Oakland only scores 16 a game. I know KC's going to put up 35-40. I don't think Oakland will score enough to give me the over, so I took KC. If you ever get stuck analyzing a game, the best thing to do is, was there an over or under possibility? And then I usually debate myself and I go, well, they can score a lot, Team A, but Team B, I'm worried they won't score. So I don't think I can get over. But then that convinces me to take the team because, well, they're going to score a lot. The other team won't. So therefore, they'll beat them by 20 points. And that's kind of how I come up with some of the games if I get stuck. Some of them are easy. The Rams over Detroit, I wasn't going to mess with the over-under, and I don't think it got there. And some of them are weird. The under games are going over. The over games are going under. So I didn't take Oklahoma, Texas. I avoided. That over was way too high for a playoff game, and so I avoided it. And basically, I didn't go over. Had it been a Texas Tech, an Oak State, a West Virginia, certainly I would have went over on it. But Texas, They have a defense. They want to play a little more ball control, although they can score, but it didn't get close to getting over. So, that was when I stayed. I just thought it was too high. You got to look at the over/under, and just like looking at the spread. KC's 8 over Oakland. It's a lock down to 2. 14. It's it's a bit high. And the same thing there. If Texas and Oklahoma was 60, it's a lock. Go over. But at 78, and this is the problem I'm having with Vegas. Honestly, they're not being like bookies anymore. A bookie would set the line to have equal action, bet on both teams, and they win the juice. That's what a real bookie does. Vegas isn't doing that. They're not wanting equal average. They're almost booking the games themselves without the counter. So in other words, they just want to, okay, we're going to make Oklahoma 78 and we'll have no action. Nobody is going to bet it under, so we'll make it so high we scare away the over players. Instead of putting it at like maybe 71 where you're going to get action, here the only action they could have got was under and they would have lost. So their lines are so out of whack that they're not getting equal betting, and then therefore they're not winning on the juice, which is supposed to be the idea. Is there's no risk. I win $1 million on side A. I win $1 million on. Somebody wins $1 million on side A. Somebody loses $1 million plus 10% juice. I win the 10% juice, and I have no risk. And that's basically what the bookie's trying to do, is get rid of the risk. So I don't really understand it. I'm sure that's why they're losing business and money, because they are very clueless what they're doing at this point. Okay, so let's get to a game. All right. Louisville is at Kansas City. Kansas City's laying 6.5, over under 51.5. Louisville's been playing this quarterback Lamar Jackson, who is a terrible quarterback. He's more of a running quarterback, which will last about, by the end of the season, he'll have hurt his knee and his career will be over, because these guys think they can run in the NFL. Sooner or later, they'll realize he can't pass, and they'll put a spy on him, a fast safety, like the San Diego guy, James. You put him on him, and that's it. He'll take his knee out, and the guy will be done. I just don't, I don't get it. I think Harbaugh should be fired for playing this guy and letting him run. I mean, if you look at his passing stats, let's look at his passing stats. The guy from Louisville. Louisville Jackson. He throws for a whopping 540 yards in probably, 3 games? Yards per game, 45. 7 yards an attempt, which I don't know what that means. He's got 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He's been sacked 7 times for 34 yards. He's lost 1 fumble. So he's been picked 3 times. He's throws for 45 a game, but that's probably not accurate. It's probably like 110, because they're dividing it by 12 games when he came in just to run. But I think he's been starting the last, let's say, 3 games. So 3, that's about 180 a game. That's more like it. Again, only 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. They do score points on him running. But now that he's played 3 games, and now that teams have tape on him, now they know what they're looking for. So let's break the game down, the way Teaserking breaks games down. All right. Kansas City, the number 1 offense in the league at 37 a game. They give up 27, as you saw against Oakland. They're pretty weak defensively, but maybe since they want the number 1 seed, that they'll play a little bit better. So they score 37. Mahomes, great quarterback. They throw for 320 a game. They run for 120. Now again, I think what happened last week is when Hunt got suspended, it was Friday night, and they were pretty much in shock. They were in Oakland already, or flying there, and they're probably distracted by it. Now they've had a week to think about it. So the rushing yards will go down a little, but not much. The backup's fine. Hunt wasn't. He had a couple of good games early on against New England and some other teams, but he didn't. He's no Barry Sanders, so maybe the rushing goes down to 100. It's still 450 a game total offense. Louisville, they score 25 a game, give up 18. Under Flacco, they threw for 250 a game and ran for one. Wow, it's a little skewed now. Let's say they ran for like 110, 383 a game. So now their passing's down to about 170, and their running's up to probably 140, 150. And I don't have a team. The only team I can compare them to is maybe Buffalo, who throws for 180 a game and runs for 120, and they score 15 a game. And that's about what I think of Louisville. Do they have a really good defense? Yeah, let's look at the number there. Like I said, they give up 18. They score 25, give up 18. They haven't really played. They played Pittsburgh, who got 20-something on them. Nobody's really getting 40 on them. So that leads me to phase 2 of this. Well, let's look at, Mahomes, 41 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 326 a game, a 9-yard average. And he's thrown, he's been sacked 20 times. And he's lost 2 fumbles. So the point of this scenario is, okay, Lamar Jackson will run. Maybe he'll get a touchdown. When push comes to shove, he won't be able to throw the ball. If KC gets up, which they will, how's you going to bring him back? And KC should start spying him like you would a Michael Vick, or you would, these college running quarterbacks, and make him pass to beat you. They should start blitzing him and saying, go ahead, beat us. And KC's got a really good secondary. Eric Berry, who knows, he never plays, but besides that, they're good against the pass. But in this case, they got fast linebackers, fast secondary. They should be able to run down Jackson. If I look at the numbers, Baltimore is a very strong road dog. They're 2-0 this year, 9-3 against the number overall. 0-2 if you go against them as a road dog, 6-6. The better defensive teams are like that. They're very, they cover a lot because they play so many weak teams, especially in their division. There's 2 Clevelands, which they actually lost at Cleveland, and then 2 Cincinnatis. And they actually beat Pitt once and lost once to them. Then we've got KC, 5-0 at home, 11-1 against the number, 3-2 against at home, 7-5. Now here's my idea and my analysis that makes me so good at picking these games. I can only really look at this year for Kansas City because this is the first year Mahomes. So if I look at the last couple of years, I got Alex Smith. As bad as he was, he's no Mahomes. So it's really difficult to go, well, let's look at last year Kansas City. All I can really say is they go 11-1 this year. Their only loss was a road. I think it was last week against Oakland, where they won by 7 because their defense couldn't stop a high school team. When I look at 17 and 18 stats, they're 10-3 as a home favorite, 22-7 against the number. So it goes down dramatically like that. When I look at Baltimore now, that I can look at, but even that's getting skewed with Jackson versus Flacco. But it's fairly similar, the same coach, the same defense pretty much. Baltimore's 7-0 as a road dog, 3-4 against. And if I go back to 16, Baltimore's 12-1 as a road dog, 9-4 against. And Kansas City 17-5 as a home favorite, on and against. So you can see Kansas City. If this was Alex Smith, I would lock Baltimore right now, even with Jackson, although I would prefer Flacco in this game. With that said, with Mahomes playing and being 5-0 at home and 11-1 against the number makes it extremely difficult to go against them. My point is, I've seen him against the Rams, Mahomes, against the Rams, against New England. He's going to score. And if the game's close at the end, he's going to win it for you. So in this situation, I got KC minus 6.5, over under 51. Are we going to get over with Baltimore's defense and the Louisville offense that they're playing? I can't trust Jackson to score, right? I mean, I can't imagine KC doesn't know what they're getting now. They're going to play him to run. They're going to blitz him. They're going to say, you're going to throw to beat us, which is what these other teams should be blitzing the hell out of these new quarterbacks. And so, therefore, can I trust that Louisville is going to score 20 points? I can trust Kansas City's going to put up 30, and if they need, 35. But I can't trust Kansas City to get to 50 or 45 in this case, because Baltimore's defense is very good. So I looked at kind of KC against Denver. I looked at KC against some better defenses, the Rams, and they still put up a ton of points. So you're not stopping KC. The fact they're at home, I like it, but I don't think that's a big issue with Mahomes. Hopefully the weather's not too cold. They're 11-1 against the number. They will win the game. We have a spread of 6.5. All they got to do is win by a half. So it's not like last week where they had to cover 8 and they were up 17 and then up 10. And then Oakland kicks a field goal at the end of the game. Like, really? And believe me, I have thought Oakland has quit already. All their players are gone. Gruden's a terrible coach. So I was really shocked that they scored 33 on Kansas City. But when I watched the highlights, I could see Kansas City they weren't trying. It was like they'd hand off Oakland and nobody was there. They're all grabbing for the ball and the guy's gaining 20 yards. And you're like, and you can see Kansas City's not fired up. Like their minds were on Kareem Hunt and they go, it's Oakland, it's an easy win. Here they'll be focused at home. They'll be focused. It's Baltimore. They have to win the game. Kansas City laying a half a point is by far the best way to play this. It's hard to play over with a team like Baltimore, good defense, who you can't trust to score. If they're down 20, this Jackson, what's he going to do? Run? And they're gonna play Louisville ball or Ohio State where the quarterback runs the option. I mean, give me a freaking break. This is not college. You're not going to do that. The Chiefs will get a little pissed about it if they do. So look for KC. Pretty much a must-win game. They want to win home field advantage. They're at home against Baltimore. They'll have their attention. And Baltimore's defense will not be able to shut down Mahomes. Nobody has. New England couldn't. San Diego couldn't. And, Baltimore's a good enough team. Not like Oakland, who, UC Davis could beat them, or San Diego State could beat them. So let's take Kansas City minus the half. Let's look at a second game. Detroit laying 3 to Arizona, over under of 41. Here's a game that I don't think Detroit's ever won in Arizona. Stafford is injured. He hurt his back, which hasn't been made public, but he didn't practice, which I heard on the radio here. So he's going to play injured or not at all, or let's say he does play. He's not that good anyway. But Arizona's been coming on lately, and I look at Arizona as a home dog. And I always look at, can a team be a road favorite? Well, Detroit won at Miami and covered. But now they got rid of Golden Tate. They got a lot of injuries. Kerryon Johnson's not playing, but their other running back will. The guy, I can't think of his name, the big bruiser, he'll be running. Although Arizona's look like, they're starting to beat some good teams. They're not as bad. Josh Rosen, I think, is getting the feel a little bit more. They're running. David Johnson is running the ball well. I just don't like Detroit as a road favorite here in a place they've never won against Arizona, who's getting better. If I look at the numbers, Detroit, 1-0 is a road favorite, 9-3 against the number, 9-3 if you bet against them. Phoenix is 3-1 as a home dog, 4-1 against. So they play close games at home. Go back to 17. Phoenix is 7-3 as a home dog, 7-3 against. Detroit 3-1 as a road favorite, 2-2 against. If I go back to 16, Detroit's 4-1 as a road favorite, 3-2 against. And Arizona's 7-3 as a home dog, 7-3 against. So the numbers are not, Detroit's not a road favorite too often. I look at the quarterbacks. Let's look at Stafford. Throws for 257 yards a game, 18 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He's been sacked 36 times. And what did I tell you? Mahomes was sacked 20, and here Stafford 36. I just think Arizona will play them very tough. They got a new coach. They're not about to roll over. Rosen's learning the system better, and I thought, and if you want, listen to my draft tape, I said it was Baker Mayfield 1, Rosen 2, Allen shouldn't be in the league, Jackson's a running back, and Darnell needs 2 more years at USC. So let's look at Josh Rosen. It's hard because he's been playing bits and pieces. So he's got 10 games, but he's probably played 3 or 4 as a starter. So he's got 167 yards a game, probably more like 200. He's got 10 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Not bad. I mean, yeah, the 11 interceptions are terrible. For a rookie, that's about what you get. You get a lot of turnovers, but he has 10 touchdowns, which is good, and then 26 sacks, which is, again, for 3 or 4 games, it's a lot, but this is simply really betting against a weak road favorite in Detroit. Let me see, running backs. Arizona, David Johnson. He ran for 761 yards. He's got 6 touchdowns, so he's back. The Lions have Kerryon Johnson's out. So that's really, the other running back, who I can't think to remember, the big guy, is that. Let's look at Detroit. They've scored 21 a game and give up 26. Anytime you're negative, that's a real hard play to play a road favorite who's negative. By negative, I mean they give up more points than they score. Stafford throws for 250 a game. They only run for 100. And Johnson's out, so they're going to run for 60. That's 330. So that's a team with no offense. The defense isn't good. They're giving up 26. Let's look at Arizona. They're the weakest. They score 15 a game and give up 26 also. And again, Rosen's starting to go get better. Johnson's starting to run the ball. Their defense isn't that good. I mean, this isn't like a lock game. This is a kind of a average game. It's just basically going, I don't think Detroit can blow out Arizona at Arizona. As far as over-under, you got 2 weak offensive teams. Neither of them really have good defensive teams. So I don't know what to do with over-under, because I don't know what's more important, the weak defense, that a good, like the Rams, that's why I locked the Rams last week, because the Rams I knew are going to score on a weak defense, and they did. Here, I don't know how much Arizona scores on them because they have such a weak offense, and I can't trust Detroit to score, so I can't play the game over. It's hard to play the game under, but I would say it's an under more because of the weak defenses and the weak quarterbacks and the weak offense. And basically, it's 2 weak teams playing, and this is the problem with a lot of these teams in the league now. You just don't know. So, lock. I think I'll have one lock, and basically I posted a 25-unit college lock for the bowl games, and I'm running that. You can buy all the bowl games right now for $77 for all of them, all the bowls. That's 3 weeks, including the playoffs. Alabama all the way through till the final, until the championship game. So you get all that. Normally it's $75 a week, where you can buy the month for $200, I think. So I'm giving you a great deal on that. I already have a big lock, 25 units. It's been the biggest lock I've had all year. I love this lock. In college, I'll have a lot of strong bowl games that I'm already found and circled and ready to jot down. I'm just, because it's a couple weeks away, I can't post it this week if a game's there. I did post the lock this week, so if you were to buy this week's games, if you were buying the locks this week, you would get the lock. You would get the college lock. Now, if you bought the pros, you wouldn't get the college lock because it's under college. But if you bought the week, or like $100, I'll give you $100 for the whole week as opposed to just the pros. There's only one college game which I am playing, and anybody who followed me knows exactly who I'm playing in this game. So anyway, the bowls are getting going. So some weeks are really strong. This week I'm going to say is a very tough week. I mean, it all depends. There's 4 or 5 good games. It's hard to bet San Diego laying 14 after I lost with KC laying 14 to Oakland. I'm not so excited about San Diego 8 over Cincinnati, but it's a tough one because I can't play it over or I can't play it under. Cincinnati, Dalton's out, so I don't know. I mean, that's a real tough one to play. I don't see that number going anywhere. And that's exactly what I mean. That's a point spread that nobody wants. Nobody wants Cincinnati in 14. See, if you made it like 12, which really wouldn't matter, you would get teaser action on it. You would get San Diego action on it and Cincinnati action. If you're going to get Cincinnati action at 14, you're going to get it at 12. You're going to get it anything over 10. You made it 11. You're going to bet Cincinnati, but nobody's going to bet San Diego laying 14. And I can't see a lot of people taking Cincinnati at 14. So if you made it 14.5, you'd get some Cincinnati action. There's no way this spread's going from 14 to 12. I wish it would. I'd bet a big teaser on San Diego -6 for you guys with the 10-point teasers. That San Diego -4 is Lock City there. I mean, this is probably a really good week for one of those 10-point teasers. As far as the other, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I probably got 11 games and maybe a couple over-unders that I like them, but they're not pocket aces. They're pocket jacks. They're good bets. They're not great. I got a road favorite instead of a home favorite. The home favorite I got, okay, I like. A road favorite's in a divisional game. I'm not, where the dog is the play, but I don't like the dog, so I don't have the trend with me. And so that's where you're deciding. I don't strictly take the trends, but I use the trends to make a decision. So when I got to fight the trend because I like the other team, that's what makes it difficult, because I'm trying to take the emotion out of it and just play pure statistics with my gut instinct, with they need the game, with all the 18 variables going, yeah, even though it's the trend, it's a teaser trend, and yeah, the team might win. Like the Baltimore KC game. Yeah, the trend's Baltimore. They're a great road dog, but I'm still taking KC because I don't like Jackson, and Mahomes is different and all that. So you're basically, even though Baltimore, they'll probably cover as a road dog, the correct bet's Kansas City, even though it's a 90% trend on Baltimore. I ain't taking it with Lamar Jackson, not against Mahomes. So it's stuff like that you have to weigh the trend with the reality of what's happening. All right, everybody, www.teaserking.com. This should be a good week. There won't, there'll be the one lock, the bowl locks out there, but there'll be a lot of strong plays. It'll probably be like last week where I'll play 3 or 4 teams. Like I could see playing Kansas City in 3 teasers. So if they win, we hit 3 times. And that's kind of what I did with the Rams in Seattle and San Diego last week. I love that San Diego road dog, man. That was beautiful coming back against Pitt. I just knew even though they were down, well, I'm only a touchdown down, and they scored, and then I didn't expect them to win, but that was even a bigger bonus. And that might make the Pitt-Oakland game a little bit better with Pitt after a loss. They need the game. So now you're coming into the time of the year where Pitt needs the game because now they're going after the division. And Oakland's out of it. So now you're getting to those points where Team A is going to win the division. They're going to be focused. They're not going to be flat against the weak team. And Team B's just weak, so they can't really compete. Like Oakland can't really compete. They'll try, but Pitt needs the game. And then the problem's Connor's out. But I think all that did is keep the spread down. All right, everybody, www.teaserking.com. Like I said, you can have the whole week for the 100. Really, there's the one college game, but it will provide you with the lock, the bowl lock, which you would get with the 100, or you can buy just the locks to get the bowl lock, or just buy the bowl package for $77. You get 4 weeks of 4 weeks of bowl games plus the playoffs. I mean, it's normally $75 a week for college, so it's $300 you get for $77. And I usually do very good in the bowl games, probably close to about 80% per game, not necessarily per teaser. Again, because I put, Alabama in 5 teasers and they win. So I picked one winner, but I really won 5 teasers. So that's why it's hard to get real percentages on it. All right, everybody, www.teaserking.com. Have a great weekend. Good luck to you.